Yellow leaves? A simple way to diagnose your plant, beginner's guide. You walk into the room, you look at your plant, and something is off. The leaves are turning yellow. Not one or two, several of them. And you have no idea why. If this is happening to you right now, you are in the right place. Because yellow leaves on houseplants is one of the most common problems beginner plant owners face, and the good news is, most of the time, it is completely fixable. But here is the thing that most people get wrong. They see yellow leaves and they immediately reach for fertilizer, or they start watering more, or they move the plant to a different window. And sometimes that makes things worse. Today I am going to walk you through exactly how to diagnose why your plant's leaves are turning yellow, step by step, so you treat the actual problem, not just the symptom. Before we jump into specific causes, I want you to understand one thing: yellow leaves are not a disease. They are a symptom. Your plant is communicating something to you, and your job is to listen correctly. There are roughly 7 main reasons why houseplant leaves turn yellow: overwatering, underwatering, lack of light, too much direct sunlight, nutrient deficiency, rootbound conditions, and natural aging. Some of them are very easy to tell apart. Others require a little more detective work. The most important concept I want you to take away from this video is that you should always look at the full picture, not just the leaves. We are going to look at the soil, the roots, the light, the pattern of yellowing, and the age of the affected leaves. All of that information together will tell you exactly what is going on. Now let's go through each cause one by one. Overwatering is, without a doubt, the #1 reason why houseplant leaves turn yellow. If you have ever searched, "Why are my plant leaves turning yellow?" almost every source lists this first, and that is because it is the most common mistake beginners make. Here is what happens when you overwater a plant. The roots sit in water for too long. They cannot get oxygen. They start to rot. And when roots are rotting, they cannot absorb nutrients properly, even if there are plenty of nutrients in the soil. The result is yellowing leaves. How do you know if overwatering is your problem? First, check the soil. Stick your finger about 2 inches in. If it feels wet or soggy and it has been that way for more than a week, you are probably overwatering. Second, look at where the yellowing is happening. Overwatered plants typically show yellowing starting from the lower leaves, and the color tends to be a pale, almost translucent yellow. The leaves may also feel soft or mushy to the touch. Third, smell the soil. Rotting roots have a distinct sour or musty smell. If your soil smells off, that is a strong sign of root rot caused by overwatering. The fix is simple: stop watering immediately and let the soil dry out completely before you water again. If you suspect root rot, take the plant out of its pot, remove the damaged roots, let them dry for a few hours, and repot in fresh, well-draining soil. One rule that prevents most overwatering issues: always check the soil before you water. Never water on a fixed schedule. The plant will tell you when it is thirsty. Now let's talk about the opposite problem. Underwatered plants also develop yellow leaves, and it can be confusing to tell the difference from overwatering at first. When a plant does not get enough water, it starts to conserve resources. It redirects energy away from older and lower leaves, which then lose their green color and turn yellow. Eventually they dry out completely and turn crispy brown. The key difference is texture and soil condition. An underwatered plant will have dry, papery yellow leaves that may curl at the edges, and the soil will be bone dry, pulling away from the edges of the pot, with water running straight through without being absorbed. The fix for underwatering is a technique called deep watering. Instead of just pouring a little water on top, place the pot in a tray of water and let the soil absorb moisture from the bottom for about 20 to 30 minutes. This ensures the entire root system gets hydrated evenly. Light is the second biggest factor in yellow leaves on indoor plants, and one that beginners often underestimate. Plants need light to produce chlorophyll, the green pigment that powers photosynthesis. When a plant does not get enough light, it cannot maintain chlorophyll production in all its leaves, especially the lower and inner ones. Those leaves turn yellow and eventually fall off. Low light yellowing tends to appear gradually, starting from the leaves farthest from the light source. The plant may also look leggy, long, stretched stems with wide spacing between leaves, as it reaches toward any available light. The fix is to move the plant closer to a bright window. For most common houseplants like pothos, philodendrons, or peace lilies, a spot within 3 to 5 feet of a bright window is ideal. If natural light is not available in your space, a grow light position 6 to 12 inches above the plant for 12 to 14 hours a day works very well. On the other side, too much direct sunlight can also cause yellowing. In this case it presents as bleached, washed out patches on the side of the plant facing the sun. This is called sun scorch. Moving the plant to bright indirect light will solve it. Another reason plant leaves turn yellow is a lack of nutrients, specifically nitrogen, iron, or magnesium. Each of these deficiencies produces a slightly different pattern of yellowing, which makes this one of the most useful diagnostic clues you can learn. Nitrogen deficiency is the most common. When a plant is nitrogen deficient, the oldest leaves, usually at the bottom, turn uniformly yellow first while newer growth stays green. This is because the plant pulls nitrogen from older leaves to feed new ones. Iron deficiency looks different. The yellowing happens in newer, younger leaves while the veins stay green. That pattern, yellow leaf, green veins, is a classic sign. Magnesium deficiency causes yellowing between the veins of older leaves, creating a marbled yellow and green appearance. A general balanced liquid fertilizer applied during the growing season, spring and summer, will address most nutrient issues. For iron deficiency specifically, look for a fertilizer that contains chelated iron. And if you repot regularly with fresh potting mix, nutrient deficiency becomes much less likely because fresh soil comes loaded with nutrients. A plant becomes root-bound when its roots have grown so large that they fill the entire pot and have nowhere left to expand. The roots start circling the inside of the pot, become tangled and compressed, and lose their ability to absorb water and nutrients efficiently. The result is yellow leaves. To check, look at the drainage holes. If you can see roots poking through, it is time to repot. You can also take the plant out and look at the root ball. A healthy root ball has loose soil visible between roots. A root-bound plant looks like a solid mass of roots with no soil at all. The fix is to move the plant into a pot 1 to 2 inches larger in diameter, with fresh potting mix. Now here is one that causes a lot of unnecessary panic. Not all yellow leaves mean something is wrong. Every leaf on a plant has a natural lifespan. As a plant grows and produces new leaves, the older lower leaves eventually die off. This is completely normal. Natural aging typically affects 1 or 2 leaves at a time, starting from the very bottom of the plant, while the rest of the plant looks perfectly healthy. If that is what you are seeing, you do not need to change anything. Just remove the yellowing leaves cleanly and move on. So here is the simple diagnostic process. First, check the soil. Wet and soggy means overwatering, bone dry means underwatering. Second, check the light. Too far from a window suggests insufficient light, bleached patches suggest too much direct sun. Third, look at the pattern. Uniform yellow on lower leaves points to nitrogen deficiency or aging. Yellow new leaves with green veins points to iron deficiency. Yellowing between veins on older leaves suggests magnesium. Fourth, check the roots for overcrowding. Fifth, think about whether you recently changed something, location, watering, temperature, because environmental stress can cause temporary yellowing that resolves on its own. As for prevention, the habits that make the biggest difference are simple. Water based on the soil, not a schedule. Match the plant to the right light conditions before you place it. Fertilize once or twice a month in spring and summer, and stop in fall and winter. Repot every 1 to 2 years to refresh the soil. And check the undersides of leaves regularly for pests. Spider mites, mealybugs, and fungus gnats can all stress a plant enough to cause yellowing. Yellow leaves on your plant are not a death sentence. They are a message. And now you know how to read that message. Whether the problem is overwatering, too little light, a nutrient deficiency, or just your plant doing what plants naturally do, you have everything you need to figure it out and fix it. If this guide helped you, drop a comment below telling me what was causing yellow leaves on your plant. I read every single one. And if you want to go deeper on plant care for beginners, I have a full playlist linked right here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.